All right, the Asus ROG Ally Xbox review. It's got to do with IGN, so you know it's going to be controversial. I'm surprised the like to dislike ratio is not flipped. I'll buy it a few years when they raise the price. I think you meant lower. Full screen experience. First time in 2022 you actually have something. What do they have in 2022? Oh, the Logitech G Cloud. That's probably what he's talking about. Or the ROG Ally. Or the Logitech G. No, the ROG. He said the ROG Ally came out in 2023. So it's probably the Hold on, let me check the date. Yeah, he's talking about the Logitech G Cloud. It came out in 2022. So let's look into it. It looks cool, man.
The Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is a fascinating little device because while it's being sold as a sort of handheld Xbox, it's actually more of a sequel to last year's incredible Asus ROG Ally X.
Okay.
But the Xbox side of it can't be ignored because it is the first device to launch with support for the new Xbox full screen experience. This allows the handheld to boot straight into the Xbox app without loading Explorer or any of the non-gaming related background tasks that typically load when you boot up Windows 11. In a lot of ways, this partnership feels like Microsoft's response to the rise of Steam Deck and the Steam OS, and for the first time since 2022, it might actually have something. So while we would hesitate to call the Xbox Ally X an Xbox, no matter what Microsoft's marketing claims, it does feel like a clear evolution of handheld gaming PCs and a sign of what's to come once the full screen experience launches for all PCs sometime in 2026. Either way, the Xbox Ally X is the new benchmark for handheld gaming PCs for the foreseeable future.
I think that's probably due to the hardware, though, right? Not the experience. It has newer chip, a new GPU. Yeah, same shit, but it's just newer hardware.
Ever since the Steam Deck came out, most handheld gaming PCs have looked very similar to each other. They've been essentially rectangles with a big screen in the center and controller buttons on the sides. The Xbox Ally X also fits this, but with a twist. Two jutting plastic grips meant to emulate an Xbox controller.
I don't really care for that.
Using the device for about a week,
to be honest,
we can see the vision. Because
I see the vision,
the Xbox Ally X weighing more than the original Ally X, it's even more comfortable, and that older handheld was no slouch either. That's because the weird controller fits more naturally into your hands and avoids the problem some of the other handhelds run into, where they start to dig into your hands after a little while. The Xbox Ally X is slightly larger than the original, measuring 11.42 inches long, 4.76 inches tall, and 2 inches thick at its thickest point. It's also slightly heavier, weighing in at 1.58 pounds compared to 1.49 pounds on the 2024 Ally X. But despite the larger size, the two devices have nearly identical button placements, save for a few radical changes. For one, the Armory Crate button is now on the left side of the display, and pressing it brings up the Asus Control Center tab, but within the Xbox game bar. Then, on the right side of the display, what used to be a button that focused on the Armory Crate app is now a library button, which just brings you to the library section of the Xbox app. That Armory Crate button on the left is an odd one though. While yes, it does open the control center within the game bar, there is now a larger Xbox button directly to the left of it that also brings up the game bar. Then it's just a simple task of hitting left on the D-pad to enter the control center. Asus could have just trimmed an entire button here, and it would have been fine. The rest of the buttons are what you'd expect on any controller, and they feel excellent across the board. The triggers in particular are a standout. Not only are they Hall effect, but they have the same impulse trigger tech as first-party Xbox controllers. The top of the device is where you're gonna find all the ports. Two USB-C ports are on the left side of the device, one of which is USB 4.0. On the other side, you'll find a micro SD card reader and a power button, the latter of which doubles as a fingerprint sensor for Windows Hello, and a headphone jack. Hey, look at that.
Okay.
Cooling is handled just like most other modern handhelds. Intake fans suck cool air through the fun-shaped vents on the back of the device and then spit out the hot air through vents on the top. This is effective at dissipating heat, though when the device is plugged in and set to the turbo performance mode, which happens by default, the processor will get warm, reaching up to 80 degrees Celsius in demanding games. The ROG Xbox Ally X has a 7-inch 1080p display with a 120Hz refresh rate and support for FreeSync Premium, AMD's variable refresh rate tech. This is the exact same panel found in last year's Ally X, and that's not a bad thing, because While it's not as beautiful as the Lenovo Legion Go 2's 8.8-inch OLED display, its modest resolution makes for a perfect pairing for the Z2 Extreme. Colors.
One thing about the OLED, like you gonna drop some bread for that OLED, bars. Like you gonna have to pay that money. Like as soon as they put an OLED screen in the device, the price instantly juts up another $200.
Look bright. The display supports up to 500 nits of brightness, and even when dimmed for battery testing, we had no problem using the handheld in a variety of settings, including a brightly lit room. The 120 Hz refresh rate also falls a little short of Legion Go 2's 144 Hz refresh rate, but not by much. Even then, there aren't many games that you're going to be running at 120 FPS, especially if you're trying to play higher spec games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Expedition 33. Plus, the variable refresh rate makes sure that even when the frame rate drops, and it will drop, things stay as smooth as possible.
Okay, the full screen experience.
While the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is an excellent handheld gaming PC in its own right, what really makes this device special is its software experience. Asus's partnership with Microsoft nets it the first implementation of Xbox full screen experience, which won't be available for other Windows devices until early 2026, which is like 1,000 years from now.
I was going to mention that earlier, like that software, that app, which is I think where the meat and potatoes of the upgrade is, like on the software side, is going to be available on the old. Is going to be available to the older ROGs, the ROG Ally and the ROG Ally X. I have the ROG Ally, and I have a Steam Deck. It works, and I have a Logitech G Cloud. Between those three, I have scenarios where I play each of those, and I'm fine with that. This is more of a, I feel like it's more of a hardware specific upgrade, and that's why it costs so much with the haptic triggers, just the overall feel of it, which you like is basically like a controller opened up with a screen slapped in the middle, kind of like the PlayStation Portal. So I guess that's what in the new chipset, USB 4, Windows Hello, the touch, the fingerprint sensor, all of that technology costs money to create and mass manufacture. So I understand the $1,000 price tag, but I feel like it's not for me. But if you don't have one, if you've been waiting this long to get into the game, to get into the handheld PC, and you got it like that, you an Xbox head like that, I say get it. But if you don't got it like that, I would just say get a regular Steam Deck for like $350, or you can get the Steam Deck OLED for $550, and you'll be a little bit behind on the tech, but you'll still get amazing performance.
Xbox FSE, you can go through the whole setup rigmarole with the controller. Once you're through the setup process, the handheld boots into the Xbox app. Of course, Game Pass is front and center, and that'll be great if you use that service. But if you hit left on the D-pad and then scroll down, you'll get to the library page. From here, you can go to My Apps and then install third-party stores. Steam comes pre-installed, so you just need to launch it, which will open it in a new window, but it won't take you out of the full screen experience. Likewise, if you install Battle.net, Epic Game Store, or Good Old Games Galaxy, you'll be able to go through those setup processes without ever having to interact with a desktop. However, it is limited to those apps, so you'll need to get to the desktop to download literally any other program. Luckily, getting to the desktop and back to Xbox FSE is easy, but we really wish Microsoft could find a way to work in critical applications like Windows Update to the full screen experience. In so many ways, this full screen experience feels the way PC gaming should feel, especially for folks that didn't like digging through a labyrinthine operating system. Microsoft is close to something as good as Steam OS. It just needs a few updates to get it over the finish line. Last year, the Asus ROG Ally X was exceptionally good because it took the Z2 Extreme processor and stretched it further than other handhelds were able to. The Xbox Ally X does basically the same thing with the Z2 Extreme.
Okay.
Even without the full screen experience, the Xbox Ally X is a powerful little handheld, delivering 42 FPS in Cyberpunk 2077 and 76 FPS in Forza Horizon 5, both at high settings, without ray tracing, and with upscaling set to quality. That's already good performance, but when we tested those games in the full screen experience, performance improved to 44 FPS and 77 FPS respectively. Now, that's not a huge bump by any means, but in the case of Cyberpunk 2077, that's a 5% boost to performance by just booting into the Xbox app. What's more impressive though is how those numbers compare to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which uses essentially the same chip. In Forza Horizon 5, the Lenovo Legion Go 2 only managed 65 FPS to the Xbox Ally X's 77. That is an 18% improvement. And in the Cyberpunk 2077 benchmark, the Ally X beats the Legion Go 2 44 FPS to 37 FPS, another 19% gap. Even when unplugging the Xbox Ally X, which automatically sets it to a 17-watt performance mode, we were still able to get a solid 30 FPS at high settings in Cyberpunk 2077 throughout our battery rundown test, only really dropping when entering Dogtown. It was always going to lean in Asus's favor just by virtue of having a lower resolution display, even if it's a small difference. 1080p on the Xbox Ally X versus 1200p on the Legion Go 2. The Xbox...
My only thing is that at this price, at $1,000, you could build a whole PC that could get, like, I kind of want to say way better performance than this. And you don't have to, and then you don't have to worry about battery life, but obviously it just won't be portable, which is why I'd say just get a Steam Deck. It's cheaper. But I mean, hey, shout out Xbox. They provide more ways to play. They've been marketing and they're advertising exactly what they were trying to do. Sarah Bond said that we're looking for a way to aggregate all of your game libraries into one, and that's what they've delivered on. And they were trying to jump into the portable space, and that's what they did. They delivered on what they promises, but the price is a little high. It's probably still sold out. I'm not sure about the numbers. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I don't know. It's not for me. I like it. Like if I have the expendable income and I'm up crazy, I would probably get one just for the content. But like as of right now, I see no need for it.
Ally X isn't going to be as powerful as a gaming console that you need to plug in and connect to your TV, and expecting otherwise out of a portable device like this would be silly. However, with how well it plays even demanding games like Cyberpunk without making them look muddy, makes the Xbox Ally X the handheld to beat right now. There, we said it.
Oh, they said it. So it looked like an 8-9.
There's only so much battery you can put into such a small chassis. And if you want a powerful chip, it's going to suck up as much power as it can.
Yeah.
But despite that, the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is a resilient little thing. When we set a stopwatch and started running down the battery with Cyberpunk 2077, the battery lasted 2 hours and 34 minutes, beating the Legion Go 2 and even tying with the Steam Deck OLED, which has a much lower power chip powering it. We are still in the realm of handhelds only lasting a couple of hours while playing games, but a 2.5 hour session playing a demanding game is nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah. But that's a long bus ride. That's a Greyhound
Asus
bus
ROG
ride.
Xbox Ally X's price
train
is
ride.
kind of the elephant in the room. At $999, not only is it more expensive than the $799 ROG Ally X, but it's twice the price of a Nintendo Switch 2 or the Steam Deck. Everything is getting more expensive lately, and while the Asus ROG Xbox Ally is certainly guilty of this too, it's actually pretty reasonably priced compared to other similar devices.
True, that is true. That's also true.
How it is, guys. For instance, the Lenovo Legion Go 2 starts at $1,099 with a weaker processor, with the Z2 Extreme model costing as much as $1,479.
Crazy work.
Then the MSI Claw A8, which hasn't even launched in the US, is out in the UK right now for £850, which is like $1,135, give or take. It's gonna be likely more once tariffs are worked into the equation here in the States. Handhelds are getting more expensive, but for devices with the Z2 Extreme, the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is actually one of the most affordable right now. Plus, those other devices aren't launching with the Xbox full screen experience, which will put the Xbox Ally X on another level until Microsoft releases it for other Windows PCs sometime next year.
Okay, let's see what they talking about with the score. I'm feeling
The
an 8 or
Xbox
9.
full screen experience alone would probably be enough for us to recommend the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X to anyone looking for a new handheld gaming PC. But the fact that it is so comfortable to use and performs so well is just the icing on the cake. All it really needs now is a couple of software updates to really refine the full screen experience, and it will be a device for the history books.
They really jacking that. They jacking that.
For more handheld PC gaming goodness, be sure to check out our review of the Asus ROG Ally X, and for everything else, keep it right here.
Keep right here on
Including-
IGN. So the the ROG. Well, how you say this shit? The Asus ROG Ally X. So IGN reviewed it. They gave it a 9. They praised the Xbox full screen experience. They praised the comfortability when you hold it in your hands, and the performance as well, which I expected. The only problem with me that the reason why I'm not getting it is because of that price, $1,000. Now it does undercut a lot of the other devices that it's competing against, including the Lenovo Legion Go and the MSI Claw, which could be anywhere from like 1,100 to like 1,500 US. So it is undercutting that market. But for somebody like me who has a Steam Deck and who has a ROG Ally, the original ROG Ally, I'm not seeing much of a reason to get this or trade up for it. Like if I had the expensive income, I would get it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Are y'all gonna get it? Let me know. Yeah, so you already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.